FC Barcelona just embarrassed Real Madrid in the Spanish Super Cup final to lift their first trophy of 2026. Although the scoreline says 3-2, I don't think the game was actually that close. There's a lot of talking points in this game, so let's talk about it. Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today we're going to be talking about the El Clásico final that happened between Barcelona and Real Madrid. The game ended 3-2, Barcelona lifted the trophy, and we're going to be looking at the game in total. We're going to be talking about the lineup, the players who started the game. We're also going to be talking about the first half, the second half, talking about the players' performances, who impressed, the players who disappointed as well. I'm also going to be talking about the manager, Hansi Flick and Xabi Alonso, and how they set their teams up for this final. And I'm going to be giving my overall thoughts at the end of the video. Now, to start things off, let's look at the team that started this game. For Barcelona, Hansi Flick lined up with García in goal. He also put Koundé, Kubasi, Eric Garcia and Balde. Then in midfield, we had the midfield of Frenkie de Jong, Pedri and Fermin Lopez. And then the attack, Lamine Yamal returns back to the starting lineup alongside Raphinha and Lewandowski. Now, Lewandowski was an interesting change for Hansi Flick, starting ahead of Ferran Torres, but it was a really good change from Hansi Flick to put Lewandowski, an experienced striker, in this game ahead of Ferran Torres. For Real Madrid though, Xabi Alonso started Courtois in goal. He started Asensio, Tchouaméni, Dean Huijsen and Carreras at the back. He also put Valverde, Jude Bellingham, Camavinga and Rodrigo in midfield, with Vinícius, Júnior and Gonzalo García leading the line, putting Mbappe on the bench because he wasn't fully fit to start this game. Now let's talk about the first half. The first half starts and Barcelona are controlling the game, they are holding possession, but in the 14th minute or so, Vinícius Júnior is through on goal. He's running into the box with pace and Eric Garcia is closing him down, and he takes his shot, but Joan Garcia makes a good save to deny him the first goal. But Barcelona are still controlling the game in the first half. The ball is being played to Lewandowski, and Lewandowski passes the ball to Lamine Yamal, and Lamine makes a great cross to Raphinha, who just hits his shot wide, which could have been the first goal, but Raphinha could not convert his chance. But then moments later, Barca do get their first goal from Raphinha again. Fermin Lopez steals the ball, he passes the ball to Raphinha, and Raphinha busting into the box again. He has Tchouaméni closing him down, and he decides to take a shot and scores past Courtois to put Barca ahead 1-0. Now, it doesn't take long though, as Real Madrid do equalize from Vinícius Júnior. He runs straight into the box, he runs past Koundé and he puts the ball in the back of the net. It was poor defending from Koundé and poor defending from the Barca defense in total. It made it 1-1 for both Barca and Real Madrid. Now, Barca do get a second goal actually. Pedri takes up the ball and he finds Lewandowski in between the defenders, and Lewandowski with a brilliant chip past Courtois to make it 2-1 to Barcelona. At that point, it kind of felt fair, given the fact that Barca were the team playing better at the moment. I think Barca getting the second goal was really good. It was a brilliant finish from Lewandowski starting this game. It showed his experience and it showed his clinicality in front of goal to make it 2-1. Unfortunately though, Barca do concede again from a set piece. Barca are sloppy again defensively in the corner, and then Barca concede from Gonzalo Garcia, who gets a rebound shot that cannons off the crossbar and into the back of the net to make it 2-2. Now, going in at halftime, I think overall when I was watching the game, I felt like Barca should have finished up their chances. I felt like Barca were hurting themselves, conceding the goals that they did, because they were easy goals, they were making mistakes at the back, and Barca should have been really more solid at the back. And I expected Hansi Flick to rally up the boys to play better in the second half, and that is exactly what he did. Now the second half starts and Barcelona aren't really still playing very well. I think Real Madrid were still getting a few chances. Vinícius Júnior had a chance, he shot the ball really well and it was saved by Joan Garcia again, and he also got the rebound surprisingly, but he just shot it wide. I think it was poor from Koundé. I think Koundé didn't really have the best of games. I think he was struggling against Vinícius Júnior all throughout the game today. And with the way the second half was going, Hansi Flick had to make subs. He brought on Ferran Torres and Dani Olmo, and that actually helped the game. Now in the 73rd minute, Raphinha does get the third goal. It was a great combination play between Ferran Torres, Dani Olmo and Raphinha ultimately, who gets the shot and the shot gets deflected, goes past Courtois, and there's nothing he could do about it. It makes it 3-2 to Barcelona. Now at that point in time, in the 73rd minute, I felt like, okay, the game was done, the game was over. And to be fair, it was. I think Barca were the better team, and only at that point in time were Real Madrid now trying their best to kind of push to try and get an equalizer. Xabi Alonso did bring on Mbappe into the game, but I don't think there was anything that he could really do, to be honest, to impact the game. Now Real Madrid did get a few chances towards the end of the game. There was a shot from Carreras that went straight to goal to Joan Garcia. There was also a header from Tchouaméni, but that also went straight to Joan Garcia. Joan Garcia was also really good in this game as well. He saved lots of shots that were at him, so he had a really solid performance again. 90th minute though, Frenkie de Jong gets a red card, and it was a fair red card, and I think at the end of the day, Real Madrid could not really capitalize on anything. The game was already over. Barcelona win the game 3-2. Now let's talk about the players who impressed me in the game and also the players who disappointed me in the game. I'm going to give my 5 best players and also my 5 worst players of the game. Starting off with the 5 best players, I think Lewandowski was really good. He was linking up play, he was dropping deep, he was passing the ball, he scored a goal. He was a surprise start in the game actually. I think a lot of people were expecting Ferran Torres to start, but Flick went for the more experienced striker and Lewandowski did not disappoint. He was really good today. Number 4 for me has to be Pedri. I think Pedri was really solid today. He had a really good performance today. Him and Frenkie de Jong, they controlled the midfield. He controlled the midfield really well. He had an assist in the game as well today. I think he was really brilliant in the Barcelona midfield. Third for me has to be García. He had a really good game today. He made some really good saves as well. He makes it look so easy. There's a certain level of trust and calmness around him whenever he is playing in goal. He denied Real Madrid a couple of chances that they could have scored or equalized the game. And he stepped up in his first El Clásico final, his first El Clásico game actually. It was a big game and other players, maybe other goalkeepers might have crumbled under the pressure, but García was really good. He was really solid throughout the game. And ultimately this is why Barcelona signed him, for games like these, for you to be able to rely on a goalkeeper that can make those saves, and for your backline to be able to rely on someone that can actually be comfortable in goal. So another flawless performance from him for me. I think he was one of the best players in the game. The second best player for me has to be Lamine Yamal. I think there was a lot of expectation on him for this game and I think he delivered. He might not have gotten a goal or an assist, but I think he was one of the most dangerous players every single time he got the ball. Real could not contain him. They were trying their best to stop him. He was creating chances, he was taking shots on goal, he was dribbling past their players. He was a problem for Real Madrid throughout the entire 90 minutes. He had the most dribbles in the game, he created a lot of chances, and he was really good going forward. I think for a player who was criticized for his performance back in October when Barcelona lost to Real Madrid, I think for him to reply like this shows real maturity on him. I think he was really good. I think Real Madrid had to put 3 players on him, but they still couldn't stop him. He was still very dangerous throughout the entire game, so I think he was really solid today. Yes, I know he didn't get a goal or an assist, but I think he's the second best player on the pitch for me. Now number 1 has to go to Raphinha, the man of the match. I think he's the man for these games, he's the man for the big moments. I think he was brilliant today. He was really good today. He scored 2 goals today. He came up clutch again. Another big game, another big moment for Raphinha. These are the type of games he loves, and he's going to keep on showing up in these games even though he keeps getting snubbed for some weird reason by these award bodies, whether it's FIFA or whether it's UEFA. It doesn't really matter, because Raphinha on the pitch, on the big games, he really delivers. He really delivers for the team. He scores goals for the team. He leads by example. He's basically the captain on the field. And today it was no different. He was really solid. He got Barca the first goal to put Barca ahead. He also got Barca the winning goal again. Playing like this, Raphinha is arguably the best player on the planet when it comes to the big games and the big performances that he keeps on delivering. He's basically unfazed by the occasion. He's unfazed by the match. He had a solid game once again for FC Barcelona. Now I have to talk about the players who disappointed me. These are going to be the players who didn't really turn up for the final. I think they were really poor. And number 5 has to be Rodrigo. I don't think I saw Rodrigo at all throughout the match. I think he was really poor. He had a really flat performance. For a guy that they said was the most informed winger coming into this game, I think he was really poor. Then there's Dean Huijsen, although you could excuse the fact that maybe he's coming back from injury. But you also have to say that these are the type of games that Real Madrid did sign him for. It's another big game where he has failed to deliver the defensive solidity that Real Madrid signed him for. I think it's another disappointing performance from Dean Huijsen at the back. Then there's Alvaro Carreras, who back in October, Real Madrid fans were saying he locked up Lamine Yamal, and he was signed for these type of games, for him to be able to lock up Lamine Yamal, for him to make it difficult for Lamine to actually make an impact on the game. But today I think he was very poor. He was the player who got dribbled past the most in the game. Constantly needed other players like Vini, like Rodrigo, like Camavinga to help him out because he could not contain Lamine Yamal. So I think he was very poor today, someone that Real Madrid fans rate very highly. I think he really disappointed in this game. And then there's Jude Bellingham. Mr. Talk is cheap. There is a meme going around that says every single touch he takes turns into a duel, and that's what it felt like today. He was very poor in the midfield. It felt like everything was happening around him so quickly. Felt lost in the midfield, to be honest. Another disappointing game from him. For me, it's another big game where he has failed to deliver. Jude Bellingham dropped an actual stinker in the game, and for someone that they consider one of the best midfielders in the world, I think he was very poor in this game, especially when your team needs someone to step up. Now I could also throw in Mbappe into the mix. I think he traveled to Saudi Arabia to play the game. He wasn't fully fit, but he still forced himself there. And at the end of the day, he just went there to watch Barcelona lift the trophy. He told the Real Madrid players not to give Barcelona a guard of honor during the trophy celebrations. Now, my overall thoughts on the game. I think Hansi Flick really outcoached Xabi Alonso in this game. The first half alone showed how poor Xabi Alonso was. I think Barcelona dominated that game. It should not have been 2-2. I think the game should have been at least like 3. I think Barcelona should have been better defensively, not to concede goals like the one they did against Vinícius Júnior or the corner from Gonzalo García. Overall, I think Hansi Flick got his setup correct. I think he got his lineup correct. But when you compare the two managers, in Xabi Alonso, I don't think Xabi Alonso got his lineup correctly. I don't think he got his setup correctly. I think for you to be able to play like that, to play like Getafe of all teams, even, you set your team up in a low block, you set them up to, I think you ultimately set this team up to fail, if I'm being honest, because you did not come to play a final. This is not how you play a final. You don't set your team up that way. They defend for like 70 minutes or so. It was a really poor setup from Xabi Alonso. It showed that he was actually scared of Barcelona. It showed that he was scared of going into this final. He didn't want to risk anything. I think he felt like if he played higher up, then the scoreline would be even worse. So he sat back to try and absorb pressure and then hit on the counter-attack. That also didn't work. It made Barcelona control the game, and it made Real Madrid look really, really weak. It felt like Barca was playing a really small team that just came to pack the bus, sit back and try and hit Barcelona on the counter. At the end of the day, for me, this is not how you play a final. This is not how you play a final. For a coach that has played for Real Madrid, for a coach that is actually a bit experienced, I don't think you come into a final playing like this, especially when you're facing this Barcelona team that has struggled defensively throughout this season. Everyone knows that you can take advantage of Barcelona's high line, but he failed to do that. He didn't even attempt to try and exploit Barcelona's high line or their defensive issues. Overall, I think Xabi Alonso lost this game due to his mentality and how he set his team up for this final. Overall, it was a great performance from Barcelona. They beat Real Madrid again in a final, in the Super Cup final, to win back-to-back finals actually. And now the team is celebrating, and I'm hoping they can only carry that form going into the next matches, the Copa del Rey, La Liga games, and then the Champions League games. Now, earlier on in my first video, I predicted Barcelona would actually win this trophy, and they have done that. Now, Barcelona can actually go on to win other trophies like La Liga, the Copa del Rey, and the Champions League, hopefully. I feel like this team actually have the strength to actually do so. So I'm very excited for more games to come. I'm very excited to see where this team actually goes and what they can actually achieve this season. Thank you guys for watching the video. Please like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Comment how you guys are feeling on Barcelona winning the Super Cup trophy against Real Madrid. And I'll see you guys on the next one.